So SQL, it is a structured query language, which is also a computer language used for storing, manipulating, retrieving, or fetching the data from the storage or database. I'll repeat again. It is a structured query language. SQL is a structured query language, which is also a computer language used for storing, manipulating, retrieving, and fetching the data stored in the database, which means computer language. Any idea what is computer language? The language which is understandable only by the computer. So the language which is understandable by the computer is called as computer language, used for storing, manipulating, retrieving, and fetching the data. For example, I'm having, so this is my storage, not this one. So I'm having one, this is a storage. This is a storage where I can store n number of data. I can store n number of data. And what we have read, for storing, manipulating, and retrieve the data or fetch the data. So we know what is storage. We can keep n number of information in it. Manipulate. Any idea what is manipulate? To delete, to
Yes,
copy,
we can
to paste.
change.
Yes.
We can change.
To do some modification. See here, this is a folder I'm having. I can delete it. I can delete it. I can rename it. I can create a shortcut, copy, cut, send. So these are the modifications or these are the manipulations which I can perform with one particular data. Then something like retrieve or fetch. So I'm having one folder. Yes, let it be. Yeah, I'll go with Mahesh. Yes. So I'm having a folder. I want to retrieve a plan. So I want to retrieve some information from the folder. So I can retrieve this one. If I open this folder, I'll get some information. So what is retrieve? Getting. So see, every one of us having some phone, and I want to tell you people to click a photo of this screen. So you'll click it, you'll send it. So to open that phone, to click that photo, to send that photo, what you have to do? First, you have to take the photo. Then again, you have to open the gallery. You have to go to the camera. Then you have to tap on it. You will get it. So this is called as retrieve. So I'll repeat again. SQL is a structured query language, which is also a computer language. That means doing some operation with the computer. Computer language used for storing, manipulating, and retrieve or fetch the data. Stored in database. So we have some different types of SQL also. We have some different types of SQL. We have around totally 12 types of SQL. I'll send it. So we have some totally 12 types of SQL. From those 12, the most used SQLs are these. In market, the most used SQLs are these, and the remaining have gone because they are old method of applications or SQL. So this is a recent or most used application in the market. So we have the first one, MS SQL, Oracle SQL, MS Access SQL, MySQL, Azure SQL, Oracle PL SQL. So we have 6 MS SQL, Microsoft SQL, Oracle SQL, Microsoft Access SQL, MySQL, Azure SQL, Oracle PL SQL. So we will be dealing with these two. The one which I have marked as a star. So we will be dealing with these two SQL. Oracle, the basic, PLSQL, the advanced. So we will be dealing with these two because we are into Oracle applications. We are into Oracle applications, so we have to deal with Oracle SQL itself. Everything is same. Everything is same, but the approach is different. Approach is different. So we have to deal with Oracle SQL and Oracle PL SQL. So why we should use SQL? Everybody says we have to use SQL, but why? Why we should use SQL? We have some characteristics because SQL allows users to access data in RDBMS. I'll repeat again. SQL allows users to access data in RDBMS. Any idea what is RDBMS?
Relational database
Relational
management
database
system.
management system. Allows user to access RDBMS. I'll explain what is RDBMS little later. You'll not understand it now. Allows user to describe the data. Any idea what is describe the data? Describe the data.
We have to elaborate it.
Yes,
We have to elaborate that particular data.
it is almost. Elaborate.
Dif-
See. Okay.
Different forms of data, whether it
Yes.
be image, video, or
What kind of data it is?
audio, like that.
Exactly. So this is file format. This is photo format, Word format, PDF format, text format, again PDF, again Word. If it is picture, so it is a
This is a
photo.
JPG
So
format.
describe the data. We have audio, we can call it as MP3. We have video, MP4. We have PDF, zip file, and we have different data types. So by looking at the data itself, we can identify or we can describe what kind of data it is. So that's what it says. Describe the data. So here I'm having Excel sheet. Here I'm having some shortcut again. So that's what it says. SQL allows user to describe the data. So by looking at the data itself, we can describe this is a photo, this is audio, this is video, this is so on. So allows user to define or describe the data in database and manipulate the data, which means the same thing. So just now we have seen a photo. I can copy it. I can delete it. I can move to some other folder. I can share it. I can create a shortcut. I can do any of the activity with the help of particular data. So that's what we can describe it, then we can manipulate it in the database. So I'm having some data in folder C. I can copy some data from folder C to folder D, from folder D to desktop. But the entire data is done in the one storage, same storage, but this one manipulation is done. So allows user to define the data and to describe the data in the database and manipulate that data. Allows user to create and drop the database or tables. So SQL allows users are the one who are dealing with this one. So users to create and drop the database from the table or database and table. Any idea what is create and drop? Create and drop. For example, see, we have good Wi-Fi connection here. I'm having good phone. This one, I'm having much smartphone with huge storage of memory. I download some movies from any website. I'll download a movie. I'll watch it. So while I'm downloading the movie, I'm creating a new data. So our new data with 2 GB, 3 GB size video is created. If I'm downloading any audios, if I'm downloading any audios, I am creating a new data by downloading the audio. If it is a photo, so whatever the things I'm downloading, those are creating some new data in the database. After usage, I delete it. Is it right? So once I download any movies, after watching it, I'll not keep it because it's a wastage of storage. I'll just delete it. That is called as drop the database and also tables. So in SQL, we can also store tables. We'll see how to store this one. Allows user to set permissions on tables, store procedures, and create view. I'll repeat again. Allows user to set permissions on tables, store procedures, and create view. So whatever the table we have created, so see, in an overall point of view, what I can tell you is SQL is for creating the tables. That means consider we are all employees from this company. So you're all new people. Some around 20 people are new here. Now I have to create a table. Batch 104, student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, name, address, phone number, Gmail address, so on, so on, so. So I have to create a table for you people for the new database. That's what. And after creating the data, I can set permissions. What is permissions? I can put a password to that. Same as we have a laptop and mobiles. We have, if I want to open it, either face lock or fingerprint or written password, keyword, anything is. Store procedures and create view. So we can store n number of data. All kind of data can be stored here in the phone and we can view it. we can view it. So I'll repeat again, why SQL allows user to access the data in RDBMS. I'll explain this a little later. Describe the data, define the data and manipulate the data, create and drop the data in the database and the tables. We can create a information like video, audio, photo and all, and we can delete it, or we can delete the tables also. We will be having some tables in the database. So we can delete those things also. Set permissions on tables, store procedures, and create view. So there is a history of SQL, how SQL was born. So it's history of SQL. Dr. E.F. Codd or Edgar Frank Codd, who was a data scientist, called as the father of relational model. So I'll tell what is relational model once again, a little later. RDBMS and relational model. Even if I explain now, you will not understand it. I'll explain a little later. So Dr. Edgar Frank Codd, who was a data scientist, called as father of relational model. So he described relational model for the first time in 1970. So he described relational model for the database in 1970. It's like, see, most of us are from 90s. 90s, I don't know about the 20s people. So most of us from 90s or 80s also. In those days, we were in school, we were not having any biometrics. We were not having any electronic gadgets. We were having ledger books. So if I'm getting admission, so they'll open a 10 kg book from like page 1 to last line. They'll write, what's your name? What's your father name? What's your this one, that one, phone? There is no phone number. What's your age, weight, height, where you're from? So any birthmarks. So they used to write everything in a ledger book. So once that admission is done, or once that batch is done, they'll store that book in a room. And if you go and open any government school, if you just go and check in any government schools, even now, there are some storage, there are some storerooms where they have kept bundles of newspapers, bundles of ledger books and all. Yeah, registered books and all, which is there is no use of it. There is no use at all. So what he thought, why don't we store those kind of information in an application, in a system, instead of using ledger books? So if it is a school, that's okay. There will be some 100 to 500 students. What in case if it is a company? There are some thousands of people. It's not good to write everybody's name in a file and create some, we cannot store those in an office room. So he thought, why don't we use an application to store this information? Whatever his name, employee number, address, so on, so on, so. Why don't we use this in an application? So he described relational model for the database in 1970. But in 1974, SQL appeared. That means he was working on the application for 4 years, 4 long years. And in 1974, he announced that I'm having an application called SQL where you can store any kind of data in my application instead of writing all these things in a book. But nobody didn't care. Nobody did care. Then in 1978, IBM developed it for the first time and released the product into the market. So a company came, IBM came. So they have approached Edgar Frank Codd, sir, we will deal with your application. You please give us. So they have developed the application and they have released in the market. Then after some, in 1986, the first database was released by Relational Softwares. So there was a company called Relational Softwares. So they came forward. Even though they released in 1978, after 8 long years, they came. So we have a huge data. We have a data in our company. So we have a huge data. We are facing difficulties to manage or write all these things in a good book. So we will help. So we will take help from you. You please store or save all the information of our company in that application. So IBM has developed the application for the first time. They have released the product into the market. And then in 1986, the first database was released by Relational Software. And it is later on became Oracle. So now we call it as Oracle company, but before it was called as Relational Softwares. And then now SQL is owned by Oracle. So first they have released their data to store the data in this application, and later they have purchased the application and they have called it Oracle SQL, Oracle application. So this is how SQL was born. And this is why we will use SQL, and this is the history of SQL. Clear so far? Any doubts? iPhone, Banu iPhone? Ganesh, Josna, Lenovo, change
Notes.
your name, guys. Yes, Xiaomi, change your name. Then yeah, iPhone 2. Any doubts so far? Megan, Yogi, Sindhu, Shivu, Pratap, Prasad?
No, sir.
Nothing? Great. So, application, and we have three types of application. The one is standalone application, web application, client or server application. I'll repeat again, we have three types of application. The one is standalone application, web application, client or server application. Any idea what is standalone applications? Standalone. Yes. Yes. So standalone applications are nothing but
Define
the
it.
inbuilt applications. Stand alone, which means applications can be installed but cannot be shared. We cannot share. And to use those applications, we don't want any database, nor we don't want any internet. I'll repeat again. Standalone application. Standalone. What is standalone? See, I'm standing myself without anybody's help, without anybody's support. I'm standing myself. I'm living on my own. So I'm standing alone. Without anybody's support, without anybody help. In the same way, standalone applications, those are the inbuilt applications which does not require any support from internet nor database, and it cannot be shared. It cannot be shared. Web applications. Any idea what is web application? Web applications. We'll see. So the first one. Yes.
The information by using the internet.
Yes. Once again. Web application.
We can access the any information
Your voice is not audible.
by the internet.
Fine. We'll discuss it. So standalone application. Any application which we use with the help
We can
of,
access the any information by using the
by using
Through internet.
it is
You
correct.
can access through internet.
So any application, if it is standalone application, any application which we are using with the help of installation and cannot be shared is called as standalone application. I'll repeat again. Any application which we can install but cannot be shared is called as standalone application. For example, we have a camera, we have gallery, we have calendar, we have clock, we have different inbuilt applications, drive, maps, Google Photos. These are the applications which can be installed but cannot be shared. So those type of applications called as standalone applications. So here we can uninstall, but we cannot share. We cannot share it, just we can use it. So here we require only installation, but not required internet and database. So to use camera, calendar, clock, gallery, files, note. So these are the inbuilt applications. To use these kind of applications, we don't require any kind of internet, nor we don't want any database for that. Example, camera, calendar, clock, gallery, drive, photos, so on. We have different applications which are inbuilt. Then something called web application. Any idea what is web application? So same, I'll go with the same example. Earlier in the 90s, we were not having any smartphone. Of course, we had smartphone since 2012 or 13. Before that, there was no Android, there was some Java kind of Java phones. So in those phones, especially Nokia, 1100, 3100, there was some Nokia series where I was using Facebook, but there was no application called Facebook. Now we have Facebook. Now we have Instagram. So different application with a different installation. But in those days, I was not having YouTube. I was not having Facebook. Still, I was using YouTube. Still, I was using Facebook. So there was an application called Opera Mini or Internet Browser. So what I'll do, I'll open Internet Browser and I'll type fb.com or fb login, search. So I'll get some number of pages. FB login, Facebook, so on. And if I go with YouTube.com, I'll get YouTube. So if I
కాంట్రోట్ రాదు గీసెట్ వర్క్
anything wrong,
నో సార్
anything wrong?
నో సార్
Yes. So if I type youtube.com, I was getting some number of pages. I'll show. See, I don't have a YouTube application in my laptop, nor I don't have Facebook application. Web applications are nothing but any application which we are using with the help of another application is called as web application. So here we do not require installation. We don't want any installation, but we require internet and database. We require internet. Without net, we cannot go browse this one. So like Instagram, Facebook, this one, YouTube, we have different applications. And then client or server application. Client or server application. It says any application which we are using with the help of installation, internet, and database. So I'll explain this with the example once again. Paint. See, this is me. This is me, and this is my friend. So I'm using WhatsApp. I'll text him, hi, I'm Achan. Something. Hi, I'm Achan. I'll send something. So this is a message which I have to send to my friend. He'll receive it. He'll receive like, hi. And he'll also reply, hello. Whatever the text he will reply, I'll get it back. But it won't happen directly. There is something called server. That means the message will first send to the server. Server will deliver the message to my friend. And whatever the reply he will give, that will be sent to server again, and the server will give me the response. So here, I am the client with the help of server. It's like if you are going to any restaurant, I cannot directly rush into the kitchen and say, I want gobi, I want this one, I want that one. There will be some person called server, waiter. So I have to ask him, sir, I want this one, please get me. And he'll go to the kitchen, he'll order. So table number this one, he's ordering something, you please make it fast. So he is the one who will get me the information. In the same way, if I want to text some information or if I want to text any message, I cannot directly contact to my friend because I need an intermediate person, someone called server. So server has to interfere between two people. So that's what any application which we are using with the help of installation, internet, and database also is known as client or server application. Any application which we are using with the help of installation, we have to install it. And after installing, we have to use internet. And of course, we have to use database also. So three things are used here. So like WhatsApp, Facebook, Messenger, for the communication purpose. For the communication purpose, we have to use client or server application. So this is application. I'll just recall once again. So we have seen SQL. It is a structured query language, which is also called as a computer language, which we are using for storing, manipulating, and retrieve the data from the database. And we have seen some types of SQLs like MS SQL, Azure SQL, Oracle SQL, what else? MS Access SQL, Oracle PL SQL. Then we have seen why we have to use SQL. It allows users to access in RDBMS. It allows to describe the data. It allows to manipulate the data. And of course, we can create and drop the data. We can create and drop the tables also. And then we can set permissions also. Then history of SQL. Edgar Frank called the data scientist who was called as the father of this one, a relation model. And he described relation model in the year of 1970. And SQL was appeared in 1974. And in 1978, IBM came into picture and they have developed the application and they have released the SQL application in the market in 1986. The company called Relational Software. They have come up with their database and then they have purchased the application from them and they had renamed it to Oracle SQL. So we finally call it as Oracle SQL. And we have types of this one applications, standalone, web application, and client or server application. So standalone application, any application which can be installed but cannot be shared. No need of any internet, no need of any database. So like example, calendar, clocks also. And we have web application. No need of any installation, but we require internet and database. So like Facebook, go this one, Instagram, so on. And we have client or server application. This is the application which we use for the communication purpose. So where we need installation also, where we need internet also, and database also, like YouTube, Facebook, Messenger, this one, for the communication purpose. Shall we go for a break? Break? Data. Any idea what is data? Data? Data?
It's an information.
It's a
Information?
collection of information.
It is information?
Yes.
It is a... Exactly. Exactly. So it is information also, attribute also. You said something? It's collection of records also. So data. Data is a raw fact or natural truth which describes the properties of an object. I'll repeat again. Data is a raw fact or a natural truth. What is a natural truth? By looking at the object, we can describe, which describes the properties of an object. For example, the same example. So consider I'm having a phone. I'm having a phone, any Samsung or Nokia. I'll go with Nokia. So I'm having Nokia phone. So this is the object. Object. And what we discuss, data is nothing but a raw fact or natural truth which describes the properties of an object. So what is a property? I'll type here. So for example, I'm having phone. I'm having phone. That is Nokia. Nokia phone. So properties. I can say cost or price. Phone Nokia. Price 5,000. Brand Nokia. Size some 720, 720. No. 250. Color. What else? Any properties? Weight?
Which application?
Yes, we have weight also. Weight of some around 170 grams. Storage? Storage some 500 MB. So in those we were having, see,
Which application?
now we have 128 GB, 34, 64, sorry, 32, 64, 128, 256, up to this type of GB we have. So there was a days where we were just having 128 MB, 512 MB. In the phone, we were just having 512 MB. So in the same way, storage, some 500 MB. What else?
Which application we are using in that?
Application, yeah, OS, operating system. We can go with OS. It could be Android. Yes, it is Android. Android. Anything else? Yeah, processor. Processor. Anything else?
Model.
Is
Like which model?
model? Yes, model. Some Nokia 3110 or
Like
I
iPhone
love
Pro,
any
Pro Max, iPhone.
yeah, any Pro, any Max, anything else. Anything else? Yeah, let it be. So data. It is a raw fact or a natural truth which describes the properties of an object. That means we will just look into this object. By looking at this object, we can describe this is the price, 5,000, brand, Nokia, size, so also color, weight, storage, operating system, processor, model. So these price, brand, size, color, weight, storage, operating system, processor, model are altogether called as attributes. Attributes. Properties. Attributes are properties. So these are the properties. And 5,000 Nokia 250 into 250, black, 170 grams, 500 MB, Android, Snapdragon, this one. These are all together called as data. Data. So, and if I go with one more example, consider I'll go with someone, Narendra Modi. Narendra Modi. So his name is Narendra Modi. His age, some 60 plus. His occupation, he's a PM. His address, so on so. PAN card, so on so. Ration card, voter ID, passport, so on. We have license this one. We have different attributes which describes him. He's just a person. I'm just a person, but I'm having different attributes. I'm having voter ID, I'm having license, Aadhaar card, ration card, so on so. PAN card, Gmail ID, phone number, age, color, weight, height, religion. This one, what we call it? Yeah, Indian or national. This one, Indian or out of Indian, foreign, whatever it is. So these are the attributes which describes the information called as data. So it is a raw fact which describes the properties of an object is called as data. Then any other word is database. Database. It is
We
correct.
can store it.
Storage.
Yes,
We can
it is
store
a
it.
storage. So database, it is a place or medium which collects and stores the data in a systematic and organized manner. I'll repeat again. Database. It is a place or medium which collects and stores the data in a systematic and organized manner. Any idea what is systematic and organized manner? Systematic and organized manner.
We have to make it in a order.
Yes, it is. It is a raw fact or natural truth which describes the properties of an object. So what is database? It is a place or medium which collects and stores the data in a systematic and organized manner. So in database, we are performing one operation called CRUD, C-R-U-D. C stands for create or insert, R stands for read or retrieve, U stands for update or modify, D stands for delete or drop. So we have DBMS, stands for database management system. It is a software which is used to maintain and manage the database. Security and authorization are the two main features provided by the DBMS software. In DBMS, we store the data in the form of file format. If it is audio, file format, video file format, whatever the type of data we are storing, that will be converted to file format. So to communicate the DBMS software, we are using query language. So we have discussed this. In DBMS, we store the data in the form of file format, which is a drawback. So what they have done, they have come up with types of DBMS. So if when we were using DBMS, all the data were converted into file format. So what they have done, they have come up with flat file DBMS, which means this is a type of DBMS software where we can store the data in the form of text or document. So previously, if I want to store audio, that was in the form of file format. If it is a video, file format. Everything was in the form of file format. But here, they have updated it to flat file DBMS. Flat file DBMS is a type of software, type of DBMS software, where it is used to maintain and manage the database. Everything is same. Everything is same characteristics. But if it is DBMS, we store the data in the form of file format. If it is flat file DBMS, we store the data in the form of text or document format. So still it is a drawback. If it is audio, text, video, text, everything was in the form of text and for the document. So what they have done, they have updated to hierarchical. So whatever the information we are storing will be converted to PDF. Again, still it is a drawback. They have come up with a network DBMS. Whatever the information we are trying to store will be converted to PDF, but multiple forms. That means audio one format. If I want to store audio, PDF, video, PDF. So every data is converted to PDF itself. So still we had a drawback. So what they have done, finally they have come up with relational database management system. So here I have left it, relational database management system. So allows user to access access data in relational database management system. Now we'll see what is relational database management system. Any idea what is relational database management system? Any idea? So we don't follow these four because it's outdated. We don't use any of these three, but we will use relational database management system. So RDBMS stands for relational database management system. It is a type of DBMS software. It is a type of DBMS software which is used to maintain and manage a database, same as the previous one, because it is a type of DBMS. Security and authorization are the two main features provided by the RDBMS software. In RDBMS, we store the data in the form of table format. So here in DBMS, we store the data in the form of file format. And here in RDBMS, we store the data in the form of table format. So to communicate with RDBMS software, we are using structured language, SQL. So to communicate with RDBMS, because we know that SQL is used to store the data in the form of table. And if I want to retrieve the data from the table, I have to use a language called SQL, structured query language. So I have to give a structure. So this is a structure, and that structure will be analyzed by the compiler. Based on that structure, we will get the output. We'll see how to get those outputs. Then something called relational model. So done with RDBMS, which I had left previously. Here, I have left RDBMS. Then I have said this one. Edgar Frank Codd, who was a data scientist, called the father of relational model. Relational model. So here we have the relational model again. What it says, it is one of the theory. It is a theory which was described by a data scientist called Edgar Frank Codd. What is relational model? Any DBMS which follows relational model will become RDBMS. Ma? Edgar Frank Codd. Edgar Frank Codd. Edgar Frank Codd. So, a relational model it's one of the theory described by a data scientist, Edgar Frank Codd. Any DBMS which follows relational model will become RDBMS. In relational model, we store the data in the form of table format also. So here in relational model and RDBMS, we store the data in the form of table format. And we have read one thing that any relational model that will follow, any DBMS which follows this one relational model will become RDBMS. Any DBMS. So in DBMS, we store the we store the data in the form of, in DBMS, we store the data in the form of
tables.
No, file. DBMS.
File.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, file format. So we know that any DBMS which follows relational model will become RDBMS. So DBMS. So here we store the data in the form of file format. So any DBMS which follows relational model. And we have read one thing that in relational model, we can store the data in the form of table format.
Yeah.
So table format. So any DBMS which follows relational model will become
RDBMS.
RDBMS. So here also in RDBMS, we store the data in the form of
Table
table.
format.
Table. So here we store the data in the form of table, which means, see, I'm having a file. I'm using the same DBMS. I'm storing the data. So I want to follow a relational model. How? In the first cell, I'll save audio. In the second cell, I'll save video. In the third cell, I'll save a photo. And here a document, here a text, here a zip. So different data, different data in different cell. It's like, so previously I had just one container. I had one container to store oil, everything and all. Now I'm having different containers. I'm having different container. So if I'm having oil, I can store here. If I'm having water here, if I'm having milk, so different liquid, poison, honey, some anything. So different oil, different liquid, different container. Because I can access, if I'm having extra, so as of now I'm having oil here, and oil will be empty within 1 month. I'll get one more oil bottle. Where I'll pour here, I'll pour it in the same container, because this is a container which is separately, this one separately kept for storing oil only. In the same way, here we store the data in the form of different one. So one cell, one data. So one cell, one data. If it's like a chapel stand, if you go to any temples or this one, you'll be seeing a chapel stand where you can store chapel, one cell, one chapel. And of course, they'll keep multiple chapels if they are your family. If you are from their family, if I go if I go with my wife, I can store my chapel or my wife's chapel at in the same cell. But if somebody wife comes and I'll ask the shopkeeper, I'll keep my shoes and my somebody else's wife's shoes. They look at me like anything. So it won't happen. So that's what. Yeah. So in a relational model, we can store the data in the form of table format. Then what is table? Table.
Contains the rows and columns.
Yes, it is a combination of rows and columns along with cells is called as tables. So in interview, they might ask you, what is attribute? What is tuple? So parameters of
Row.
table. Rows are also called as records, are also called as tuples. Columns are also called as fields, are also called as attributes. So what is rows? We know it is a horizontal portion of a table. Columns, vertical portion of table. Cell, it is the smallest unit in the table where we will store the data. Is it right? So this is the smallest unit where we will store the data. So this is a row and this is a column. We can also call it a row. Rows is also called as field, or sorry, it's also called as tuples or records. Rows, records are tuples, and we have columns. Columns are also called as attributes or field. So they might ask you what is field, or they might ask you what is record. So you will think that records are nothing but a collection of information. It's not the record of collection of information. Records are horizontal portion of the table. So fields and attributes are vertical portion of the table. So at last, we have something called rules of EF code. So we have discussed that we can store the data in the cell based on the data type, but we have to follow some rules. If I'm creating a table, for example, yeah, we will be seeing in the upcoming classes, we will create a table. We'll see how to insert the table, how to update it, how to modify it, how to change the information, how to add new information. We'll see everything. But whenever you are adding information or updating any column or table, you have to keep in mind that some rules. So those are some rules given by the Edgar Frank code. The first rule says the data entered into the cell must be single value. What does that line mean? The data entered into the cell must be single value, which means here I have saved some audio. Here I have saved audio. I cannot store videos here. Along with audio, I cannot store video. Here I'm having video. Along with video, I cannot store documents. One data type, one cell. So that's what it says. According to the data entered into the cell must be single value. According to Edgar Frank code, we can store the data in multiple tables and can establish the connection between those two tables with the help of key attributes. I'll repeat again. Rules of Edgar Frank code. The data entered into the cell must be single valued. One cell, one data. According to Edgar Frank code, we can store the data in multiple tables. Of course, see here I'm having table one. One table is full. So what I'll do, I'll go with the second table. I'll fill here also. Even this table is also full. I'll go with the third one. So as many tables I can create. If I'm having multiple data, it's like a bus. So a bus is consists of around 52 passengers. If I'm having 300 people, how can I store them in one bus? So I'll fill 50% in one bus, then in the second bus, third bus, fourth bus. So 300 people, 6 bus. In the same way, And the same seat, ladies separate, gents separate, senior citizen, handicap, conductor, everything will be same. And here also, according to Edgar Frank code, we can store the data in multiple tables and can establish the connection between those two tables with the help of key attributes. So I can store the data in two tables and I can establish the connection between those two tables. What is establishing connection? Connecting those two tables with the help of key attributes. What is key attribute? Any idea what is key attribute? It's like a leader. So because I'm having a family, everybody has a family. In my family, my father is a leader. In your family, your father is a leader. Your friend's family, your friend father is a leader. For example, consider I'm the one, and if I want to ask my friend, I'm having my friend, I'll ask him, Macha, we'll go to this one trip. So he says, Macha, you come and talk to my father, because he won't listen to me. If you tell him, he might accept. So what I do, I'll ask him, Uncle, we are planning to trip. You please send him. So he'll ask everything, so on, so on, so. And he will call my father. So just he came and he's asking me to send my son with your son. Is it okay that I'll send you? So he'll ask my father. If my father says, okay, let them go, let them enjoy. If even one says no, there is no connection. If both says yes, it is a connection. In the same way, when we have multiple tables, one or two or more tables, and I want to retrieve the data from at a time. For example, I'm having a document here, and I'm having, so table 1, document. Table 2, this is table 2, document. Table 3, document. I want document from table 1, table 2, table 3 at a time. At a time, I want all the documents from different tables. In such cases, I have to use something called key attributes to establish the connection between those two tables. Yes. So to establish the connection between those 2, 3, 4, any number of tables, based on the information which we have kept, to establish the connection between those tables with the help of key attributes. I'll explain what is key attribute tomorrow. Then in RDBMS, we store the data in the form of table format, including metadata. So we know that in RDBMS, we store the data in the form of table format, but including metadata. Any idea what is metadata? Metadata? Any answer? What is metadata?
Data of data.
Yes. Metadata is nothing but a data inside some other data. For example, yeah. So this is the audio. It's clearly displaying the data type is audio. And if I go to the properties, I'm having different information. Type, open with so and so, location, size in the form of bytes also, created, modified, accessed, security details. So these are the different details which I'm having. So metadata, a data which is stored inside some other data. If you click any photo from your phone, if you go to properties, you'll be having location, size, so and so, so and so, resolution, date, time, seconds, everything will be stored. But these are the data which are default. These are the metadata. Once again. So RDBMS, we store the data in the form of table format, including metadata. So what is metadata? The data which is present inside another data. It is auto-generating. It is default. What is default? We don't save it manually. Compiler will by itself will save it. What is the time taken, modified, so on. So everything will be auto-generated. Examples, photo. If I click any photo, it will be having date, time, size, resolution, everything and all. Videos also, songs also, so on. So these are the 4 rules of Edgar Frank code. The data entered into the cell must be single valued. According to Edgar Frank code, we can store the data in multiple tables and we can establish the connection between those 2 tables or multiple tables with the help of key attributes. So in RDBMS, we store the data in the form of table format, including metadata. So what is metadata? It is a data present inside another data, like photos, audios, videos, so on, so on, so. And it is auto-generated. So what is auto-generated? By default, the compiler will save it. And then the last one, we can validate the data into 2 steps. That means before we store any data into the table, we have to validate. We have to validate. It's like if you go to any market, we'll bring different types of vegetables. And before we keep into the fridge, we'll just verify which are the good product, which are the good one. Is there any like dust or dirt? So we'll just clean everything. Then we'll place it. If you find any wastage one, we'll just throw it away because it's no use. In the same way, whenever we are trying to like insert any data into the table, we have to verify once in two stages using data type, which is mandatory, using constraint, which is optional. So I'll repeat again. We can validate the data into two steps. Validation can be done into two steps. One is using data types, and using constraint. So we'll see what is data type, what is constraint tomorrow. And data types are mandatory. It is compulsory. We have to do it compulsory. This is optional. It's okay if you skip. So what is optional? It is okay if it is used. It's okay even if it is not used. So optional. So we'll see this one. And from Monday, we'll start practicals. From Monday, we'll start practicals. One second.